believe our death toll from this event will exceed 50 Kentuckians, probably end up closer to 70 to 100 lost lives.
Lines of powerful storms tore through Kentuckiana overnight, leaving a path of destruction. Governor Andy Beshear declaring a state of emergency due to the tornado damage in the state. That's a look at the courthouse in Mayfield. The steeple on top leveled. The Kentucky National Guard has been activated.
The governor held a news conference at 5 this morning. Two of the hardest hit areas are in Mayfield, Graves County, that's where Mayfield is, and Sonoma in Taylor County. We have crews headed to these towns to give us a look at the damage.
Now, as we focus on this outbreak of severe weather, it goes all the way to Wisconsin with reports of hail. A couple weeks before Christmas, severe weather up into the Great Lakes, extending down towards Dallas, Louisiana, and right in the middle, Kentuckiana sits with significant tornado damage in the one cell that is going to be potentially the longest lived thunderstorm producing tornado. Started in Jonesboro, around Jonesboro, making it towards Mayfield, and then up towards Breckenridge, Grayson, and Meade County. We haven't had many reports of damage out of these locations, but we do know that there was a tornado warning. There was a confirmed tornado. So this could go down in the history books as the longest track tornado in the history of keeping records in the United States.
Taylor County took a direct hit from this storm system that rolled through Kentucky overnight.
WDRB's Grace Haba is just north of Campbellsville. Grace, you talked with a man who lost his home earlier this hour, but now the sun is starting to come up. What else are you seeing?
That's right, Sterling. Christy Mitchell is back here with me this morning. And Mitchell, the sun is starting to come up. We're starting to see a little bit more of the destruction. We're standing in your backyard. Behind us is what used to be your home. What are you thinking now that you're starting to see the gravity of the situation?
Just where do I start? You gotta, I'm a planner, so you gotta, get it. How do you get it going back together? And I'm looking around at what used to be my neighbors' houses too.
Can you point those out to us? Where were they?
That was a house right there.
Right before that tree, right to the right of it?
There's another one that we used to be able to see over here where you can kind of see a vehicle or a telephone pole standing. There was a house on the corner. There's another house here that's basically gone. And then there were a couple houses up on the top of that ridge right up there that are they're gone too.
And you were pointing out to me, actually, over here just behind you, Stuart, if you want to flip around the camera, there's a house that has been here for quite a long time. What do you think now?
It's a landmark that's gone. That's John and Karen Sanders' house. The stagecoach used to stop at that house. That's how old that house is. It's part of the old Clay Hill farm. You can anybody that wants to can Google that and kind of tell you the area we're at, and that's kind of the history of this area.
So lots of historical value here. That home, too, not immune to the destruction. You were telling us over to the left of where the camera is pointed right now, that is your basement. That is where you and your family sought shelter. For those of us who weren't with us about a half hour ago, tell us again what you were doing down there.
Well, we got the warning, and so my kids were already in the basement, but me and my wife went to the basement. And basically, as soon as we located the kids, you could just tell that it was close. And I was telling everybody to get down, and didn't even get all the way down. And one of the walls in the basement hit me in my back and knocked me down. But ended up, none of us got hurt. We have, far as I know, nobody that's on this road with these houses being completely gone even went to the hospital. We're all okay. We dug each other out of the rubble and just took care of each other.
It's pretty remarkable. Over here, you were explaining there used to be a barn here. What are you seeing now? And you're still looking for a couple horses and a mule.
Yeah, I have since located the livestock that I have, all but one dog. But the barn, all the hay that you see strolled is about 40 rolls of hay that was for the winter to feed those animals. That was in a barn on the other side of my horse trailer that's just, gone. So I just got to get everything moved to where it's in a safe place where we can start to put it back together.
What did it sound like to you when you were hunkered down in the basement and that piece of wall hit you? What was going through your mind and what were you hearing?
All you could hear was just the loud wind and the rain. And then, I mean, it's pretty much as soon as you're thinking this is happening, that wall hit me. And it's like almost frozen in time of what just happened, what just hit me, where are my kids, where are my wife? You know, and we were all within, 5 or 6 feet of each other, but still, are they still here? And then, like I said, my wife looks up and said, the house is gone. We're getting rained on. The house is gone. So, yeah.
It's a lot to process here this morning, and you were telling me you lost your phone. You didn't really have any way to communicate with any of your neighbors on this road, and one of them came to you to make sure that you were okay.
Yeah, my wife held on to her phone. When the wall hit me, mine flew out of my hand. It's somewhere in the basement, but we just started calling people, telling them, hey, we're okay, but we're in the basement. We're just going to stay put because, with the destruction we knew of our house, we just said, well, where are we going to go if we get out? It's dark. So we called a few people. We know people that are on the rescue squad, friends with them. They called and said, hey, we heard your name on the scanner. We're headed your way. And like I said, the neighbor come down on his side-by-side and helped drag us out of the basement, took us to his house, which is still standing. A lot of damage in his area, but his house is still standing, and that's where basically the whole neighborhood rallied at. He has a wood stove. We built a fire, and everybody got warm, and that's where like I said, we all rallied to make sure everybody was okay in the neighborhood.
That's actually where we found you, Mitchell. And when we were talking to you there, again, lit by firelight, candlelight, there's no power in this area. You told us that what you're wearing right now actually came from one of your neighbors.
Yeah, Nevin, the guy that come and got us, this is his overalls and boots and all that, because all I had on was a pair of ball shorts that I'd been sleeping in. So he literally gave me the shirt off his back.
What do you think that says about the sense of family that you have here with your neighbors?
Oh, we're definitely a big family in this neighborhood. Everybody, when we've had big snows and all that kind of stuff, we've all checked on each other, and we've got a nice neighborhood and we want to keep it that way. We had a nice neighborhood, I guess. We always, when people were selling houses, we wanted to know who was moving in, just to make sure that we keep it, friendly and, a big family.
And now that the sun has come up a bit, we're walking around. This is a beam that used to be by your kitchen, you said. I know you're trying to find some pieces of clothing. Is there anything that you're looking for specifically that you hope isn't lost?
No. There are a lot of family, heirlooms, if you will, as far as stuff we had from, grandparents and stuff like that. But, we got the memories. My family's okay. And that's really all that matters.
Definitely a lot to process here this morning, Mitchell. We thank you for sharing your story here with us. A lot of people want to know how you and your neighbors are doing. So hearing you out here okay is definitely very, very important, and we thank you for sharing that with us. Christy Sterling, we will continue to be here throughout the morning bringing you live updates, but again, a lot of devastation, and as that sun continues to rise, we're getting a better look at just how bad this situation here. Again, we're about 15 minutes north of Campbellsville, and this is what we are seeing.
Dozens of people are likely dead after the storm hit Mayfield as well. WDRB's Travis Ragsdale is there.
Now, we want to let you know that the audio is not great because cell phone service right now is very poor in that area. Let's listen to Travis.
Guys, we've just gotten here to Mayfield in western Kentucky just about half an hour ago or so. It's still very dark here. Behind me is a church that we've just found as we were driving into town here on the eastern side of Mayfield. We're probably about a mile or two from the city center, and the inside of this church has collapsed in on itself. The roof is gone, and this is just some of the devastation that we're seeing here and that we're starting to see here. I can look up at the sky and tell you that sunlight is going to be coming here soon, and that's when we're going to see a much better picture of just how bad it is here in Mayfield. Of course, one of the things that we're most worried about is that candle factory that Governor Beshear has talked about already this morning. At least 100 workers were inside when this tornado ripped through this area, and many are feared dead. Perhaps dozens still inside. Mayfield has certainly been one of the hardest hit areas of the state, and just by driving in this morning, we've been able to see that the bark has been stripped off of many trees, and typically that's what you see in these stronger tornadoes, EF4, EF5s. That type of wind energy is required to strip bark off trees. Other trees just snapped right in half. As we get more light here, we're going to try and bring you better and more images from Mayfield so we can better understand the recovery process for this community, which is going to be weeks and months moving forward. And we'll have to keep everybody here in our thoughts in Mayfield and all of Western Kentucky that's been touched by these tornadoes here overnight. For now, in Mayfield, Travis Ragsdale, WDRB News.
Graves County and specifically the city of Mayfield have been hit really hard, and we are still awaiting more reports of the surrounding area. This is going to be some of the worst tornado damage that we've seen in a long time.
Record-breaking storms. Kentucky's governor declares a state of emergency after multiple tornadoes ripped through several western Kentucky counties. We are waking up to destruction so serious that the Kentucky National Guard has been activated, and so serious that Governor Beshear held a press conference at 5 a.m. That is what you just heard. Among the worst hit, Mayfield, Kentucky. There's that video that Travis Ragsdale took driving through. This is about 25 miles south of Paducah. Significant damage there. Governor Beshear says dozens of people are likely dead in that area. He estimates at least 50. He says that death toll could reach at least 70 to 100.
All right, let's take you to Mayfield, Kentucky. We just got some new video in. This is the first time that we're going to see this. Let's take a look at it together. Wow. This comes to us from WDRB's Travis Ragsdale and photojournalist Doug Smith. Just widespread destruction that is hard to describe. Now, Governor Beshear told us about a candle factory in Mayfield this morning, collapsed with more than 110 people inside. We're still trying to get a count on how many people have died. The governor did say at least 50 people, could be up to 100 people, but it's hard to look at these videos and think if somebody was in some of those buildings that we're taking a live look at right now all together, that those people survived the storm. This is heartbreaking. This is a very tough morning for our state. The National Guard has been deployed to those areas for search and recovery efforts. We do know that. The governor told us that this morning. Resources are headed that way to help people in need. And as we all see here together, people are going to need a lot of help.
Absolutely. There are at least 181 National Guard members that are being deployed to Mayfield particularly, and they will reassess as the day goes on, and there might be more service members deployed to other areas.
I do want to know something here. You don't see a lot of movement in this shot.
Cars.
You don't see a lot of emergency personnel. I'm sure they're blocking off this area, and it is a very coordinated, calculated effort to help these people in this area.
And you know what? A lot of people are asking about their loved ones in that area. They're posting on social media asking, you know, have you seen anything from this apartment complex or that apartment complex or this area in particular? And these emergency responders have a lot of area to cover today.
Well, that they do. And our crew on the scene, we've had a hard time getting in contact with them because the cell phone service is spotty or down in areas around Mayfield, Kentucky. So what they're having to do is they're having to drive in, shoot video like we're seeing here, we're watching together, and then they have to drive back out of town to where they can get cell phone service to send us this video, send us these pictures.